he will work with.
Absolutely. So for me, for the first 100 days, I think we should talk about it. But which that, like my friend said, we don't need to limit it to real results, because within those days there won't be any real results. But of course, there are people who are looking up to see what signals you can give. In some symbolic policies, for example, people will be excited to see policies that would show what the government is about doing. For example, he isn't taking office yet, but I heard him speak, and I was thrilled, because he says, if you want to make money, go into private practice. Don't come and join
public
government.
Service.
Right. So those are some of the signals that people will be looking up to see what is he going to look to be doing. The people he's going to be appointing, people are being critical, or will be critical, to see who gets appointed into what position. And those will give an indication of, if you remember, when the current president took office, one of the, a few of the new appointments that he made, for example, our colleague from law became the secretary. He appointed the Minister of Education and a few other people. And
from
people
the education,
exactly. And people were like, "Wow, this is something that we should be looking up to." So, some indicators of how the game will be like would be
the first 100 days are worth talking about.
So,
right now, Mr. Waku. Yeah. Now, this is an economy that has been predicted to show real strong signs in 2017. The Economic Intelligence Unit has said it, the World Bank has said it. In fact, just this morning, the BNFT is reporting that the policy rate of the Bank of Ghana is likely to fall below 20%, and therefore interest rates might go down. Now, let's start from here. The economy. The president's first few days in office, what must he touch and what must he not touch?
Yeah, from a finance and economic point of view, I think touching anything, if you touch interest rate, it has a ripple effect. Whatever you touch has implication. So there's a need for, within these 100 days, I think it is a good time to do analysis to assess what the previous government or the current government has been doing. And I will advise, there have been a very good reforms as far as the financial sector has been concerned over the period of the 8 years reign of NDC. There have been very significant reform as far as the payment system is concerned.
Gift mix is one of them.
Payment system,
mix, right?
Yes, payment system has really broadened the operation of the financial sector, and they are doing so well. Being the background from Bank of Ghana, I believe they are doing so well as far as payments platforms are concerned. Now people are able to do transactions on their mobile phone. People are receiving money, sending money, mobile money everywhere. These are kind of things I believe, in fact, the running maybe my former boss understand these things better. There are a lot of things they can do, the payment system. There are issues of the Deposit Insurance Scheme Act coming. They have to relook at those things and make sure it works well. The investor banking concept must be looked at. There are issues like the Exim Bank concept. This can be looked at very well. In fact, over the period, you can realize that petroleum prices has been very stable over a long period of time now. And anytime fuel prices fluctuate, it gives effects on so many sectors of the economy.
So then we should be worried about what is happening on the international market?
Yes, we should be worried and be careful how you touch some of these things within these 100 days, because if you are not careful and these things are not managed very well, it may create serious effects. I will also advise the government coming in should really look at the massive infrastructure that the current government has done. They should really look at it and not just to abandon everything. Whatever needs to be completed, they should have strategic plans to
deal with it. Before I go to Dr. Justice Bawule, let me take you back on the issue of the oil, because during the campaigns, you heard the now incoming government suggest that fuel prices are up because of the taxes, and that on the international market it was low, but our own taxes has gotten it to the point where we're buying now. suggesting that, well, if the new government comes, they can't take off these taxes. Now the prices are rising on the international market. So what do we do?
Yeah, that's exactly what we are saying. Anything you do have effect. One may say taxes are high when you are out, if you are not in government. But when you come to government, sometimes you realize the so-called tax that you say is high. You may even end up increasing it or doing something else. Because as much as we even say taxes are high, the demand on the executive, the demand on the economy, as far as the needs of the people are concerned, you can see that the revenue is not matching, have always not been matching with the needs. So, fine, we can call some of these in political talks, but when it comes to real issues, you come to notice that
you take a look at what is there and then make decisions.
Make decisions, so we should be careful. And I will also plead with Ghanaians that we don't just hold everybody by the promises we made when we are on campaign platforms, and we should look at the real issues on the ground.
Would you advise they go ahead and take off the taxes?
I wouldn't say that, because whatever, there have been a lot of technical thoughts before coming out with these taxes. So I would not just sit here and advise that they
go ahead, but they should look at what is on the ground and work according to
it.
Dr. Baule, for you on the economy, where will you put a finger that the president should begin to make decisions on?
I think that the financial services sector is one of the biggest areas that you cannot ignore. And the reason is exactly what my friend talked about, the fact that it has some rippling effect on whatever happens. So I think that we need to immediately take a look at what exists there. For the people who are in the transition team of the incoming government, many of them have been in business, right. And I get a sense that they understand what the real impact is on business. And so they should be in better position to be able to advise this government on what to do. But you don't do that without looking at the complete picture. The complete picture then will be that if we are thinking about reducing taxes, for example, what will be the implication of that on, say, for example, restoring teachers' training allowance, for example. So there will be a lot of things that has to be juggled around. And I get a sense that the team that is being composed would be able to provide some ideas. Again, like my friend said, we need to be careful with when you get to start playing with numbers, then you get a real deal. And so I suspect that the real deal will show in the way that they will behave, because they will not be able to immediately put into action some of the things that they have said. What is possible is that we could generate innovative ways of broadening the tax system that ensures that we are able to raise money from other sources. The other thing that we often don't talk about is the confidence that we generate in the economy. So you get the behavior of the president, his vice, and his ministers would give a lot of confidence to the business community. And you would find, for example, that even donor partners will begin to be more generous to you based on how well they think you are managing your economy, especially on issues of corruption. So when we get a sense that this president is going to be very tough on people who steal state money, when we get a sense that they are going to be very efficient in the use of resources, when we get a sense that a lot of the waste that had happened in the past are going to be dealt with, you are likely to get the international community want to give you a lot more resources, because they know that
you handle it well.
Exactly. You know.
I see.
So those are some of the things that I suspect that they need to immediately. But in 100 days, we are talking about 100 days. I think that in 100 days, we should give the president some space, right? One of it is that he will need to reflect carefully who he chooses to be in what position. And I know that there's already a lot of jostling around, a lot of pressure and lobbying for positions, and that is to be expected. So let's give him the time. I expect that in the first 100 days, he would have established his cabinet. He would have immediately, and I want this to be priority, we should have taken control over the local government system as well. There's no way that you can leave the local government system to hang. And in the
for about 6 weeks or even 2 weeks.
I think so. Once we start appointment, we should also make sure that the appointment, every appointment that matters, is filled. as quickly as they can, and then action can begin. That way, we are sure that decisions at the top would reflect at the bottom. Otherwise, we will get problems.
I'll come back to you on this issue of confidence in the economy. But let me go to Mr. Waku. Yes. We heard of prices at certain markets gone down. Even the spare parts, the second-hand spare parts hub in Accra, prices were down, even though some came back and said that, well, the prices go down at this time of the year because they want to clear stock. Do you see confidence in the economy restored because we elected a new president?
The question, I don't know how it links together. But,
because they said that, well, we are reducing our prices because we have a new president.
But the question, okay, because I think
yes.
you are now hitting it at the right way.
That is what they said.
Because you said they are clearing stock. That
yes,
is where
and then later on, some spare parts from dealers from Busokan said, well, this time you find spare parts prices go down because we want to clear stock and get in more for the new year.
Now they are trying to be real businessmen, because if you link your pricing to election of somebody or removal of somebody, at the end of the day, you will come and pay for it.
Absolutely.
Yes, you pay for it. It is important to know that pricing, every businessman, there's no charity in business. When you go into business, you are there to make profit. It's one of the key things, apart from solving a problem. Right. You must make profit. That makes you, or break even at least. So if you reduce price, thinking that it is in appreciation of an election, fine, good enough. The consumers or customers will come and buy. But if you need capital now to go and replenish your stock, that's where the challenge comes. Or eventually, you may end up increasing your price beyond even the normal levels just to make in what you have lost. Yes. But if we complain so much about the management of the economy, the fact that Ghana was piling up debt, which was agreed by almost everyone, and then we'll have a new government that says we're going to manage our resources in such a way that we won't have to go on borrowing. Shouldn't it see that confidence in the economy restored? Yeah, please, if you ask me as a businessman, or I've traveled across this globe for a while, and there are many developments that goes on. Taking a debt per se to a businessman or building economy, it is not bad, but how you use it,
absolutely,
how you use it, how that debt transform to economic development, how does it generate enough resources to pay back and also to help the generations that are coming up. Because nobody can tell me there's no economy in this world that doesn't attract debt to build the economy. So attracting debt or taking debt, definitely, I'm not sure the new government is going to tell me they will never take a loans, debt, either locally or from foreign sources. We surely do. But how we use it, what we put it into, is what is necessary. So we have to really look at that. And in building economy, Ghana has a lot of potential. In fact, having said that, I want us to appreciate what we have as well. I just returned from Liberia yesterday, and what I've seen, I know Ghana, we are blessed. At least we are far ahead in terms of things. If you get to the airport, and I don't know, I can't compare what they have as an airport to anything in Ghana, even the local airports, Kumasi and Tamale. I think we are progressing, we are developing. Don't let us just be too critical on governments, but let's appreciate the small we have. Let's support them. In way of doing things, people may make mistake, right? But even that mistake, how you treat it, will help others to have confidence to also do better. But if there is a mistake and you just forgotten about whatever good or intention the person have, and you dwell more on the negative, at least I believe that thing is also killing us as a nation.
I see.
Let's have positive mind towards issues. If somebody clearly did something wrong, let the law punish the person, but let's support development agenda of Ghana. I believe Africa, we must be looking beyond just dealing with our political opponents,
right,
and whatever.
Well, Dr. Baule, now, so 100 days in office, the president will need to drive all Ghanaians along, if indeed the focus is to see development. We've just come from an election. How does he do that?
I think that so far I have been very impressed with the way the president-elect has carried himself.
Yes.
Into the election, Volta region was one of the areas that had issues, you know, and all of us in Ghana know why the Volta region has issues. And so when I saw that there was, he was in the Volta region talking to the chiefs and promising to say that we will work with everyone across the board, I think that's a very good signal. So I expect him to continue.
It's promising enough?
Well, I think people will hold him to it. Whatever you say, people will hold you to it. And I am expecting that having won power now, you will reflect a lot more before you make any promise. And for a lot of the promises of we will work together well, I don't think it should be a problem for anyone who has goodwill to be able to do. So if I have to work with, for example, Volta chiefs, it's easy to work with them. Why not? If they make proposals, we will discuss them, you know, along with all other proposals, and then we will see what is possible to do. So I expect that it should not be too difficult for him to carry all of us along. I know that there are a lot of people who are already making a lot of demands. Sometimes not demands, but replaying the promises that they had made to say, okay, you say you do this, let's see. A lot of times you'll find that the people who were his very ardent critics are the ones doing that. But for me, that is what politicians would need to be subjected to. I like my brother's comment, let's be charitable. But truth is, power corrupts. And so the politician must consistently we must be on their head. In fact, 24/7, we must make sure that we give them pressure. For anybody who cannot survive that kind of pressure, please, if the kitchen is hot, get out. Because you see, there are a lot of people out there in my village. You know, people are looking for water they can't get. You have been given all the luxuries of the state. You are riding the big cars, and you say we should not complain. We will. So please let whoever gets into power know that he owes the people who voted for them the things that he said they would do. Of course, we understand that we don't have all the resources. And my brother said, let's do as we can, but let's manage our resources well. For those of us who are in education, you know, we are hoping to see what will come to us. Everybody is going to be hoping to see what will come to. I'm a teacher, and I am an advocate of restoring the teacher training allowance because I'm a beneficiary of that system. But for it, I won't be here. I couldn't buy sixth form, the money to buy a form to go to sixth form. I couldn't buy, even though I made a distinction in O-level village school. It was the teacher training allowance that saw me through training college. So I'm happy that they made that promise. Please let them get it back. You see, we are giving money. Sorry, I know we ran off time. We are giving money. We are giving money to people in the name of LEAP. LEAP is a social intervention program, and we are giving money to the poor, the needy, the aged, you know, people who cannot afford, who live below a certain poverty line. We are giving money to those people. Bright, how many people who are rich in Ghana will take their children to training college? So the same poor people that you think LEAP should benefit are the people whose children are in training colleges. Then you cut off their support in training college, and you go back and give money to their parents to do what? I don't believe in that system. So if we think that, you know, it might be a weird argument, but as I say, I am biased. Because
you are a beneficiary. All right. All right. So, okay. Let's see what happens. Mr. Waku, let's begin to wrap our conversation. Okay. So, for instance, industry expects so much. The small businesses, I'm sure the day the government is sworn in, the very next day will begin to knock on the doors of these appointees and get them to work. Industry in particular, how do we shape them up and carry them along in the very first few days?
That is very good. A friend of mine close to a former president told me something that after the president left office, he asked him a question: what could you have done differently if you given the opportunity? And he said one thing he noticed was that when he was in government, he didn't help young people much to go into business. because a study I also made when I was doing my master's, things that developed some of our colleague countries was empowering the younger generation to go into business. And being a business, I've been in public sector for about 2 decades and now in private sector. I realize government, successive government does not do enough to support private sector. The local content thing we talk about.
Even though they talk about it,
Even though
and
they
yet
talk
they do
about
very
it,
little.
yes. The local people who are trying to make business, the SMEs and other people, you realize that the kind of things we go through to survive, I don't know whether it's a grace or whatever, whatever sustains us in business. So if government should look at the private sector, identify potential in the young people, the SMEs, provide form of capitals that are accessible, credible capitals for long, medium, and long-term business infrastructure or business operations, is going to help this country a lot, because whatever profit I make in Ghana, I retain it here.
Right.
But any businessman, investor who comes here is not charitable enough to retain everything here. They come here, they do business, they repatriate their profits, they acquire our properties, and you'll be surprised to know that Ghanaians are now buying properties from foreigners. So why don't we support the private sector?
Right.
Why don't we support the SMEs? Identify young people, potentials, empower them, and push them into business. It will help our country. It will employ more. Teachers will also spoke for their support.
All right. Okay. And finally, Dr. Bawley, this one district, talking about this as a one district, one factory thing, we hope to see it quickly dealt with the very first day also.
No, I think it will require a lot more thinking through. And if I heard the president-elect where he says he's going to do this through the private sector, private people don't throw their money anyhow like government does. So if anybody is going to be interested in, for example, putting a factory in Accra, they will look through to see what it is that would be the most profitable venture to go in, and whether or not it makes economic sense within the jurisdiction. You know, some areas of Ghana are very sparsely populated, so people would think carefully before they put their money in there. And we expect that government will provide the kind of stimulus that is required to help them. But that will require a lot of thinking through. And I don't expect that to be one of the things they would want to pursue immediately. Yes.
It would take some time. I'm grateful. Dr. Justice Bawley is the head of the Department of Public Administration and Health Services at the University of Ghana Business School. Grateful for your time this morning.
Thank you.
David Kofi Waku is the chairman of Wealth Vision Financial Services Limited. Grateful too for your time this morning.